welcome to this week's episode of Inspiring Salon Professionals. I'm on video this week as well, so you can find it on YouTube, and that's because I have a guest with me this week, and I always like to put the guest interviews up onto YouTube so that they can be shared further and wider than the podcast. And this week's guest is going to be Philippa Holding. She has been a great friend of mine for many years, and I've watched her progress through her career that she had in the corporate world, and as a nail tech and session tech and all sorts of things that she's done within the salon industry. But more recently, she shifted her life hugely and has become a mindset coach and a wellbeing practitioner, amongst other things. And she is amazing. I've just done a load of work with her because I was getting a little bit stuck in what I was doing, and had quite a few blocks and limiting beliefs. It's a massive on-trend word at the moment, and so Philippa has been helping me work through some of my stuff. And I tell you honestly, you can't believe when you work with someone like Philippa. And it was a bit weird because at first I thought, oh, I know her, it's going to be a little bit odd, but you know, she's such an amazing coach, and she has helped me with some wonderful things, and is always a great support and a great advocate for everything that I do, which is always really lovely to have. So anyway, I'm going to hand over to the interview now, and I hope Philippa and I have an interesting conversation. I'm sure we will, because we usually do, and it's going to be all about mindset, all about your well-being, setting boundaries, and enhancing how you view yourself and how you view your worth, so that you can create a bigger and better salon business. So, hi Philippa.
Hi,
and welcome to Inspiring Salon Professionals. I'm so glad to have you on, because I've been trying to do this for a little while. So I've done a little bit of an intro, but if you would please explain to everybody who you are and what you do and how you've come to do what you do now.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, so I'm so excited to be on this podcast with you, and like you say, we've been looking to do this for a little while. So I'm Philippa Holding. I'm a mindset coach, and I help women feel empowered to thrive and redefine what's possible for themselves in their business and also in life. And I do that through mindset coaching, and also sometimes with maybe like slightly heavier things through like therapeutic techniques, but they're all content free. And what that means is in traditional talking spaces, there may be a requirement that you have to speak about various different aspects of things of the past in order to be able to feel empowered now and in the future. Yeah. However, with regards to the techniques that I use, okay, we don't actually sort of have to address any of like that. It's all about the root cause of beliefs, habits, and patterns that hold you back from thriving and redefining what's possible for you, and in a really short space of time. How I came to learn this skill set and set up my business as well is I've gone through various different challenges in my life, and yes, I've overcome them. However, there's always seemed to be a little bit of like resonance, or I've been playing small a little bit, or things sort of like holding me back, and I was never really sort of like understanding what that was. And it wasn't until somebody like mentioned to me about NLP. I was like, what's NLP? So it's neuro-linguistic programming, and it's essentially how you can influence and program and communicate with your mind and be able to change beliefs, habits, patterns that absolutely hold you back. And when I went on my practitioner's course back in 2019, I, as an example, I had an ingrowing corn on my little toe that had been there for and kept on like coming back, even though I was having treatment for it for around 8 or 9 months. And on my course, I was like listening to the trainer and saying, they was like saying, you know, your mind is such a powerful piece of real estate for you, really. And real estate in meaning sort of like that when you can master your mindset, that anything really is possible. And I thought, okay, you know what, I'm just going to test this out.
Yeah.
So I followed a process, and I got agreement with my unconscious mind, okay, where it knows all of the answers to everything, okay, all of the patterns, habits, and things that it runs there. And I said to myself, okay, do you know what the root cause is of this call? And it gave me a yes. And I said, okay, are you going to be in agreement with me to help heal it? And it said yes. 6 weeks later, totally gone, and it's never been back since.
It is so amazing when stuff like that happens.
No, right? So when you then start to apply those same principles in terms of looking at what is possible for you, it really is about you connecting to your mindset and giving it the instruction for it to follow, because it's problem solving. It always loves to help problem solve for you on your behalf.
I think as well is that we think we're in charge. And our conscious mind is such a small proportion of what goes on in the content of our brain function. And the unconscious, I mean, having worked with you, what the unconscious mind tries to do to step into, I mean, we know there's been times on stuff that I've been working on with you where I can't actually get beyond anything because my conscious mind keeps jumping in to stop my unconscious mind doing what it needs to do. And all of those thought processes that keep jumping in. And in actual fact, if you just let the unconscious mind do its thing, it can do really quite powerful, amazing things for you.
Absolutely. If you think about, a simple aspect of breathing, okay, we all need to breathe day and night in order to survive. And it's an unconscious pattern, though, that we essentially take for granted. You don't sort of like sit there and suddenly think, okay, where's my next breath going to come from? Oh. That pattern is already one of the millions of like unconscious patterns that are programmed and playing out for your highest good on a daily basis. However, from a conscious thought, okay, it can only like process 7 pieces of information, +3 or -3. So really, really like small and limited. Whereas, as I say, with your unconscious mind, there's millions of like programs that are running. So they start, though, way back when you're small, okay? Even sometimes, what you've even inherited from your mum or your parents, whoever like the people have been like influences in your life. And unknowingly, you've picked up some like limiting beliefs or limiting habits or limiting behaviours that then impact the quality of your life, but also your well-being, your confidence, and actually how you view yourself and whether you are able to succeed various like in various different things. And when we think about entrepreneurship as a first port of call, the identification of being an entrepreneur, that's the first bit. And even if it's okay, you're unsure about that, then really what lies underneath that is the root cause of, okay, actually, am I good enough to be an entrepreneur? And if you attempt to do things, you can do them so far. However, if that limiting belief is still playing, then your unconscious mind is going to put in patterns and habits to keep you playing small. And then you will become frustrated and feel, why am I not moving forward? And all of those things, or becoming overwhelmed.
It's quite fascinating, isn't it? Just some of the stuff that I know that came up with me related back to an incident when I was less than 2 years old. And it wasn't when we were going through the process, and the words that came out of my mouth from that incident related to nearly everything that's held me back. And it sounds really ridiculous, but it's so true. And actually understanding how that links all the way through, it gives you the power to kind of release it and let it go. And it definitely changes how you view your worthiness and whether you belong, whether you should be having the opportunity to say what you need to say so that you can move yourself forward.
Absolutely.
And it's quite shocking because it was, I mean, the incident was a massive thing in my life and it's been there all the way through. It was like a horrible accident thing I had, but it was like what actually happened around that has then kind of held me in that little space. And I'd never even considered, you know, that could be something that was holding me back, but letting that event go and it's funny because I keep finding now, even it's like, obviously I can still remember it, but it's like there's part of it that's gone. It's very peculiar what happens.
It's the meaning that you've associated to that event. That you've been placed in a situation, a safe space where you felt empowered enough to actually release all of the anger, sadness here, but
it's
fear
like there's
and
a gap
that's attached.
It's like it still happened, but there's this sort of like gap there where
absolutely.
all that other stuff sat, and I can still remember it, but I don't have the associated emotion with it. It's really, really odd.
We all walk with an imaginary dumper truck on our shoulder. And we go through life and experience various like different things, or maybe people have like said certain things to us, you know, and it's challenged ourselves, and you know, we as human beings just shove it in, okay, I'll deal with that later, or just shove it in the dumper truck. And then it gets to that point where that dumper truck, actually, if you look at somebody's posture when they're leaning forward, it's because they're carrying the weight of all of that throughout the years. And until they actually sort of like decide to empty out that dumper truck, then, you know, they keep on going forward and forward. But when they release it, you know what, the posture changes. Even sort of like down to like little like fine lines in the face. You can actually like tell what people are like carrying or what they've released from where they are.
It's like, but you can look at, because I can't think what the phrase is that you use when you're looking at I can't think what the phrase is that you use, but you can watch my face when we're working together. You'll watch my face and you will know instantly what is going through my head just by how my face is reacting.
Absolutely. Well, it's that intuitiveness. Okay, and as a mindset coach as well, you know, it's important to be able to like look at all of like the changes that happen, and it can even be like a flush of the cheeks, it could be like a you know, just a movement of the eyes, all of like those various different things, even with regards to how your breathing changes. I'm watching all of that because that then like gives me the indicator of like, okay, are you just making the changes? Or is it your conscious mind that is getting involved here somewhere? And then like we can sort of like help.
Quite often it's my conscious mind that's getting in the way.
It's the gatekeeper.
It is massively.
It's the gatekeeper.
And I think you don't, until you realise what the unconscious mind can do, you don't realise how inhibiting the conscious mind is and how much it does just stop you.
Absolutely. If you imagine like a racetrack, okay, a running track, and you're in the starting blocks and you're looking down sort of like 100 meters to the end, and in your lane, okay, you see these hurdles and then there's a water jump, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, how am I going to be able to get over those hurdles, and certainly how am I going to be able to cross that water? What NLP and the other behavior change techniques that I have in my skill set helps you to do is shift all of those hurdles to the side and then fill in that water jump. And it creates your pathway to be so much clearer without any resistance or anything like that.
It's because I think for most of us, we probably sit at that, you know, when we're in the blocks and we sit there overthinking on, oh my, you know, we've got to get over that. Now, how am I going to do that? And the overthinking for so many of us becomes our way of in, because you're trying to plan. And in actual fact, when you just let all that go and you just believe that actually that's going to be my pathway and that's how I'm going, and nothing can stop me because I have the power to do it, all of that stuff just disappears. And it's a much nicer way of working. I have to say.
Well, it is fast tracking towards your success. You know, why why would you choose to wait years and years and years to change something where actually, even if it's a limiting belief of saying, okay, I'm not good enough, in 60 minutes or less than that, it can be changed, and you can then continue to be getting on with your life. Why would you wait years and years when there are actually sort of ways of being able to change things so quickly? And definitely. It's not temporary change either, it's lasting change. So this is changing things for a lifetime,
And right, we've said as well, because we were just doing something before this, we were saying during that conversation about the fact that although I've been working with Philippa since before Christmas, I'm still getting knock-on effects of that work I've been doing, and it's like this sort of trickle-down effect that once you start releasing that stuff, it kind of has a knock-on and it continues to happen, and you continue to grow and to empower yourself, because all of those little things, it's like on Harry Potter in Diagon Alley with all the little locks going on the door, and that's what it does, and it opens a new doorway for you.
Absolutely.
And it just sometimes might only open a little bit, but as you believe more and more that your mindset has changed and can change and you're a different person, then that door becomes more and more open for you to walk through.
I mean, in my last corporate role, I spent the last 18 months developing an empowerment and leadership program for women in the organization, and I did this, however, without the skill set that I have now, and it ended up impacting 26,000 people, changing how a whole directorate actually works. And all of the 100 women that actually participated and came from that feeling empowered and feeling focused with what they were going to be doing next in their careers have then gone on to gain leadership positions, some of them in the C-suite, etc. as well. But it's also about how they've shown up for themselves, and also about the home space, etc. as well. It's literally had a 180 transformation in every single area of their life, and that was, as I say, before I had learned things like NLP and emotional freedom technique and various other different things. So imagine what it is that I'm able to
I know. Super powerful. And it is, and I think as Salon, I found this phrase earlier, Salonpreneur. I don't know if anyone else has used it before, but so many of the people that listen and watch the podcast are people that own salons or work in salons. And I think we're there to serve people is fundamentally what we do. And you've been in the salon industry over the years as well, and so you understand what it is that we do and why we make some of the decisions that we make that may not serve us in a way that is better than the way we serve our clients. And I think that's something we really, really need to address as an industry. And so changing your mindset as a salon professional is so important, because that whole fill your jug first or your glass first kind of thing, and the mindset that we have around that is not necessarily always the best mindset, because we believe we're there to serve, but we need to serve ourselves first, don't we? Really?
Absolutely. There's one sort of belief of having a posture of yourself to be able to serve others. Absolutely. However, it's choosing to do the great rather than choosing to do the good, and doing the good means that you're absolutely saying yes to everything, but by doing that you then become overwhelmed. And how does that actually serve you as an individual, your family, or even your clients? And so therefore then really in relative terms, that then becomes your cycle of burnout. And that's another area that I specialize in, is breaking that cycle of burnout. But a really simple thing would be in terms of okay, having boundaries set, between you and your client services, the times that you're opening, and even, when people are messaging sort of to book for sessions and services, and not by a booking system, but through sort of your mobile phone. I'm pointing this way because my phone's
we all know that. It'd be even better on the audio version.
But But if you're answering the phone or messaging clients at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, really what you're saying to them is, okay, that you're available to them 24/7, rather than, okay, yes, they may have messaged you to like book a service in, and that's great. However, respond to them in your opening hours. And then you start to create the work-life balance for yourself.
It is. And I think as well, in today's like techie world, nearly every platform that we operate on, you can put automated messages on. And you can do that on email, you can do it on WhatsApp, you can do it on Facebook, and and you have those set so that at 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whatever time your business closes, that you get, clients that try and contact you get a bounce back, and then you're automatically looking after them, and you haven't got to worry about it. You can just switch that phone on, and it always really, the most beneficial thing is to have a separate salon phone. And and I know from when I worked at home and mobile, my clients still have my mobile number, and like a lot of my clients that are the last ones that I'm doing, my last few clients this week, it's going to be very strange this week, but some of those clients have been with me for like 17 years, and they've all got my mobile number, but they all love them ever since I had the salon, respected the fact that that phone was my personal space. And unless there was a really serious, they would use it if they were ill and they couldn't get to me or whatever, and they needed to let me know urgently. But generally, they'd all just contact the salon. And I think you have to have those boundaries. And I always, I made a very clear point when I went from working at home to working in a salon, that there was no more. And there was no more contacting me, no more phoning me at 10 o'clock at night, or me waking up to text messages that, that they've been up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so they're texting me. And it's lovely that, they want to get in touch that early. But unfortunately, I'm not awake that time of day. So, but having that boundary of saying, no, there's the salon phone, ring that and leave a message, and just having clear guidelines, very clear guidelines.
Absolutely. Another thing that sort of like comes to the table when I'm like working with entrepreneurs as well is around asking and pricing.
Yeah, definitely.
If you have a really valuable service and an exceptional experience that you're bringing to the table for your clientele, they are going to pay a premium price for that. Okay. However, if you hold a limiting belief that and I've done a post actually on my Instagram about it today, if you're secretly like going and comparing yourself to your competitors and thinking, oh my gosh, how are they able to like charge that type of like price for their service, my clients would never pay that, then really the truth of it is you're holding a limiting belief of saying that I'm not good enough to charge those prices. And that energy even is then going out into the universe and into sort of like, okay, the clientele that you want to attract, they're not going to be connected to that because it's the wrong frequency, it's the wrong belief system. So going back and actually changing that to say, absolutely, I'm good enough to charge double, if not even triple, for the service that you're bringing to the table, then those clients that value that, okay, and are seeking that premium service will absolutely pay for it. Okay. And even in that stops and breaks a burnout cycle of thinking that you've got to have your salon jam-packed with clients all of the time to just be able to meet and pay the bills. No. Deal with the mindset, the limiting beliefs that you may be holding, and sometimes you're unaware that you hold those things. When you change that, then you are able to change the results in the experience of where your business comes, and you can achieve, that real financial abundance that everybody wants to be able to achieve, but also in a way that serves you and serves your client in your highest good.
So absolutely. And I think as well, I know from just experience over the years, is like when I first started, I was really in that place of, oh my, I've just qualified. How can I possibly charge that much money? How can I charge anything? And I was just doing free nails for ages. And then I started working in a salon. And so suddenly had to go from, barely charging anybody anything to charging them probably like 4 or 5 times what I was charging at home. And I felt guilt. I felt just so like I was a fraud and I shouldn't be doing that. And it took a lot to get to a place where I was quite happy to go to the till and go, oh, that'll be whatever it was, I don't know, £35 or whatever it was at the time. And it really hurt. Doing it. It was so painful. It literally was painful. I'd be just screwing myself up inside, just trying to say those words, because at the time I couldn't have afforded to pay £35 for that service. And I think, the fact that your personal set of circumstances may mean that you don't have those funds or that you wouldn't pay for that. But believe me, there's a lot of people that will pay a lot of money. And sometimes the more you charge, the more likely you are to get those clients. But you've got to have everything there to back it up. You can't be in, some cheap back end salon where everything's done, with the very basic products and stuff. You've got to have something that appeals to those people.
Yeah.
But but they are there, and it's all about your client avatar, making sure that you are putting out there the client that you want to receive at your door. And if you don't believe that you have the right to have those clients, then you're never going to get them.
Absolutely. There's also like the value piece that sits in there as well. So if you have a goal of wanting to make money, however, in your top values, money isn't in there, then that's another piece of like why you then are feeling frustrated and feeling stuck. And again, when we work together, it's a really like easy but yet powerful process to actually like shift that value up into like one of your top.
And we just had this with me, didn't we? I mean, it was,
yes, we did.
It took a few sessions for it to actually become where it should be, because, and I think as well is that you have, and I know for me when we were going through that process of where my 10 top values were kind of thing, and money at the beginning wasn't really factoring that much, no. But if at all, really. Which is not how it should be, because I have got years of experience, and I should, and therefore I am worth having money in my life. There's no reason why I shouldn't have money in my life. But I think that thing of like asking for the money, that we're brought up in a society where it is a bit of a dirty word, and you have to get beyond that and recognize that actually none of us can function without money, and you do have the right to have it. And well, people shouldn't look down on you for wanting to have money.
Yeah, money really is the vehicle about equal reciprocity. I'm giving you money for the service and value that you're bringing to me in this moment, because I'm unable to do it for myself. And you absolutely should be able to decide what you charge and not back down from that. And even when it comes to sort of like looking at, okay, the end of the year, and you're doing your projections for the following year, and you think, actually, I'm going to put my prices up.
Yeah.
Sainsbury's and Tesco's, etc. They never announce whether they're putting their prices up or anything, do they? They just
they don't tell you when they're putting 5p on a tin of beans. And I think at the moment, as we're recording this, obviously, like fuel is hitting, in a lot of areas is now hitting like nearly £2 a litre, and gas prices are about to go up, and there's a huge amount of factors that are fundamentally going to change how every business, doesn't matter whether you're in the salon industry or whether you operate the butchers down the road, whatever it is, your costs are going to go up. And I know, I'm sure that you've probably seen across a lot of forums that you're on as well, Philippa, is that, in all the salon forums, people are having meltdowns over, how am I going to get through this? And how am I going to be able to charge the money? And that, every single person has to recognize that any business owner has to respond, and especially off the back of what we've gone through over the last couple of years of the pandemic. There's so many shifts and so many changes, and it is going to be the bold that win. Because if you're too scared to say, actually, there's all these changes in my business and I need to actually value my services appropriately, then if you don't do that, you are not going to have a business left. And so you have to be brave, and you have to be bold, and you have to make that decision for your business and value your worth. If your clients understand who you are, what you do, and what you provide, then if you've got to put an extra £1 on that service, or an extra £2 on that service to enable you to continue practicing, then that's what it takes. And
well, listen, no business owner is running a charity unless you actually are running a non-profit.
Yeah.
Okay. But even then, even with a non-profit, there is still a threshold of charging for various certain things. Okay. Yeah. So, you got to look at and decide for yourself and choose, okay, are you going to empower yourself to thrive, okay, for the longevity, okay, or are you actually sort of running a hobby that, okay, really, I'm not invested in building it?
Yeah.
Even when you're looking at elevating your service, yes, you can decide to charge an extra £1 or £2, an extra £5. However, okay, also it's looking at, okay, well, how are you delivering that service? So one of the things that I used to differentiate myself in relation to providing a manicure service was actually sort of incorporating a hot towel service with it. That never costed me anything extra.
Yeah.
However, it absolutely allowed me to elevate and charge a premium for that service that my clients loved. I've still got clients that have, even though I no longer do nails anymore, I've still got a few clients calling me up and saying, can you do X, Y, and Z for me? It's just nobody else is like you. And I've still got my stuff. And sometimes I'll say, okay, yeah, come on then, let's do that. Yeah. But that's the point. It's the experience that your clients want. But if you don't believe that you can deliver that experience, or that you don't believe that you are worthy enough to deliver that experience, that is your sticking point. And it can be cleared up so quickly.
Yeah. It's
about choice.
Yeah.
Whether you want to make that change or not.
What a fantastic first part of Philippa's interview with me. And in that episode, we're talking about all things mindset, boundaries, and so much more. And I hope you really found some good value in that. I have had a lovely message from Philippa, who is offering everyone that views the video or listens on their favourite podcast platform a great offer to work with her. And I have to say, having been working with her for the last few months, it has been so beneficial, and I cannot advocate enough how she can help you shift your mindset and put you into a far more positive place. So I'm going to put details of the offer onto the Inspiring Salon Professionals Facebook group, so that the details are all there and it's all in writing, so you can read up on what it is. But it will be a time limited offer that expires on the 30th of April 2022. And so if you want to get working and changing that mindset, you can make a small investment with Philippa and she can help you get on your way. Again, all of the information will be on the Inspiring Salon Professionals Facebook group. So head over there and join up if you haven't already. And you'll find all of the links in the show notes on YouTube and on your favourite podcast platform. If you listen to the show regularly, you will know where you can find everything. And thank you so much for listening. And next week's episode will be continuing conversation with Philippa. And I hope that you really, really get some benefit out of what wisdom that she shares with us. Thank you. Bye for now.